This video is the fifth in my series about using graphical analysis to graph scientific lab data. In this video, I will address how to create an additional manual or calculated column in your dataset, which we will typically use to have the computer do calculations for us or to linearize lab data. With the data that I've already entered, click on the three horizontal dots next to a column of data. It doesn't really matter if you do this for your X or Y data, but the new column will appear to the right of the column you choose. You'll see two options here. One is to add a manual column and the other is to add a calculated column. If I have another set of data values that I want to add, but they were directly measured in my experiment, I will choose Add Manual Column. This option means that I will be typing in the values directly and not using the computer to do calculations for me. A new column will appear in your data table, and you can type whatever values you need directly into the cells. If you realize that you don't need an additional manual column, you can always click on the three dots and choose Delete to get rid of it, which I will do now. Alternatively, a calculated column can be useful when you want the computer to do repetitive calculations for you, like if you're linearizing data. By looking at my graph and the graph summary sheet I have in my lab notebook, I can tell that I will need to square my x or time values to linearize my data. I could manually square each time value, but since I'm performing the same operation each time, I can program the computer to do it for me. To do this, I'll begin by clicking on the three dots in the time column. On the menu, I'll choose Add Calculated Column. On the next menu that pops up, you have lots to do. First, I'm going to name my column with what I plan to put in it, so in this case, time squared. Typically, the caret symbol, Shift plus 6, is used to indicate a superscript and then enter a 2. Since I'm squaring time, my units will be seconds squared, so I will enter s caret 2. I'm not worried about the precision, so we'll go on to the expression. Click on Insert Expression, and you may be overwhelmed by all the options. In all the choices listed, A and B are numerical constants, while X and Y refer to columns in your data table. The first option, A times X to the B, will work for nearly all that we're going to do, so let's click that. Here I can put a coefficient in front of X if I want to, though I don't for what I'm doing right now. In the next box, I can choose which data column I want to manipulate, and I will keep it at time, which was the default. Finally, for the power or parameter b, I will enter a 2 because I want the time to be squared. As an aside, you could also use this for an inverse function by choosing -1 as the power. Now I click Apply, and this calculated data column will appear within my data table. If I realize I made a mistake, I can always click on the three dots and column options to make changes. For now, though, I just want to show this calculated column on my graph. I want this data to be on the x-axis, so I will click on the x-axis label that currently says time, and instead choose time squared from the list of options. The points on the graph will automatically change, and we will realize the linearization was successful because it looks like all our points form a line. Be sure to save your file at this point so you don't lose all of your hard work.